Okay, so today we're going to be watching a video by a YouTuber, maybe streamer. I don't really know exactly what he does. His name is Romanian TV.
Well, apparently you don't know what I do, but I see here in the description, found this guy who looks like a loser, sounds like a loser, acts like a loser, and also thinks like a loser. And I'm wondering, why are you being so aggressive? What have I done to you? How did I upset this fine, upstanding gentleman? But YouTube promoted this video to me, believe it or not. Like, this didn't come because a subscriber told me about it. It's like, no, I saw it in my recommended page. And since I am guilty of putting my opinions in the public space, I think it's only fair and right that I defend my opinions when criticism arises. So let's see what this gentleman who apparently dislikes capitalism, it's the title of one of his videos, haven't looked at it, but I assume what it's about based on the title, is going to address some concerns to what I've been saying. Let's see if we can provide satisfactory responses to them.
And the video that we're going to watch is called "The Zoomer Car Complaints Intensify." Yeah, let's watch this video. I have a car. I have complaints. I'm a Zoomer. So I think this video will be very helpful and educational for me.
I want to start a life.
Oh god, I gotta listen to my voice. Oh Dios mío. You know, I got this really, really annoying voice, but the only good thing about being me is that I don't have to listen to it. But what you're doing right now is torture. You're going to make me listen to my own voice. Absolutely hard. What have I done to you to deserve this? But yeah, the Zoomer car video basically goes down to that there's a lot of popular Zoomers out there that are incredibly rich, and they're complaining about not knowing how to manage their life. Which is very bizarre from me, because I come from Eastern Europe, a place that's very poor. And if people who are poor from Eastern Europe know how to manage their life, I look at the Americans with absolute dismay. And it wasn't a video out of malice or anything like that. It was simply like, look, you got access to all these resources, you got access to all these amenities, and you can't make do, but there are people that have half as much as you do, and they can make do. How do you explain that? Right? That was the video, which apparently now I'm going to have to listen to it again.
I want to do all of these things that seem so financially out of reach and seem like they are never going to get any better.
Now, yeah, like basically, if you were to be a little bit more financially conservative and not as wasteful with the resources that you have, maybe those things that are out of reach would be within reach. Does that make sense? Like for instance, if I have $1,000 and I spend $900 on gacha games, and then I have 100 left, is it okay if I complain that I don't have enough money? Like, technically, I could make the complaint, but you could have someone else saying, well, maybe you shouldn't waste the money you have on things that are frivolous. Maybe you should be a little bit more financially conservative. And again, the gacha is just an example. It's just like one of the things. Don't fixate on the gacha. You can spend it on everything else. Like things that you could live without. Like, again, I'm not upset that she's got a car, but does she need a 4x4? I'm not upset that she's got a phone, but does she need a luxury phone? Right? We're going to go to that as we're watching the video. I want to make it clear that I don't have anything against this lady, and when it comes to her message, I actually agree with most of it.
Yeah, already 30 seconds in, and the guy's kind of being a prick. And what I mean by that is that he doesn't show the video in its entirety. Like, I get it's a commentary video, and
I'm not attacking the lady. The lady made a viral video that got millions of views. There is no point in me showing it in its entirety when you're tackling the idea that she's saying. And I thought that I was absolutely clear when I said that it's not about her. It's about rich people in their expensive cars with their expensive phones making TikTok videos saying how difficult life is. So it's not about her, right? Which is why I wasn't even interested in showing all the video. But I don't think even she got upset. However, you're getting upset on her behalf. You know what? Here's what I will do. I will show all of your video. There we go. I learned from my mistakes. See? Even a right-winger can surpass the bigotry and learn to be better. So I'm actually going to play this entire video. Even if it means listening to my own voice. Again.
I get your commentary is more important than what is actually happened in the video, but context is really important. I actually saw the original video, and I'll play that for you guys near the end of this video. So stay.
I lied. I won't listen to the end where you're replaying that, because we already played it, so.
Stay tuned for that. And what he's gonna say has almost nothing to do with this video. Pretty much her message is that we're being distracted as Americans, and we're being divided into factions that will fight amongst each other. The infighting being created by the media and corporations and such is detrimental to us as Americans as a whole. But what he's about to start talking about has nothing to do with her message.
When it comes, I literally said that I agree with most of her message. So this is why I didn't play that part of the video. Like, what do you want me to play? Just bob my head? Yes, I agree. But not only that, you say that the problem is that people are fighting with each other, and the first thing you do is to attack me. It's not a lot of camaraderie going there, huh, Tovarysh? It's not really cool. Like, didn't even try to ask anything. It's like immediately loser. Sounds like a loser. Acts like a... Oh, Dios mío. I wonder why people are infighting. Comes to her message, I actually agree with most of it.
So if you agreed with her message, why didn't you give her the credit? Why didn't you put her message out there?
She's already making billions of views on TikTok. My brother in Christ, my channel is small compared to hers. Like, I don't think I can promote her message even further. But not only that, people can easily find out who she is. Again, she's more famous than me. I don't think like I tried to... I even addressed the message. Like, the part of the video that I didn't play, I even addressed it. And I said I agree with it. Whatever. Maybe I'm in the wrong. You know what? I'm willing to admit fault.
I don't know.
It just comes bizarre to me because I see her complaining about not having money, but she is sitting in a car, which I would assume the minimum payment for it is at least $1,000 a month.
This is going to be kind of petty, but actually I did some research, and from what I can tell, it's a 2024 Jeep Wrangler Sahara, and that car costs around $32,000.
Jesus fucking Christ, it's half the price of my house, dude. It's half the price of the place that I am living in. Holy shit. Can you not buy a car that's, I don't know, $5,000? Do they not sell those in the... Can you not buy a second-hand car? I'm not saying you gotta be poor, but what I'm saying is, like, if your entire argument is that there are things out of my reach, I cannot reach them, then maybe lower your living standards is my point. There are people here in Eastern Europe that live with less and can reach certain things that you cannot. How can I translate it? How can I... Am I, like, no speaking English? Is this my issue? Like, am I not able to properly communicate what I am trying to say? Because, again, it's like seeing a peasant girl from China with her back almost being broken by carrying sticks. And she's like... Hang in there, American lady. Hang in there. Life is tough, but you can make it. You know, it's kind of like that. That's what it feels. But I'm from the other side of the fence. I'm from the country that is a little bit more poor than America. So when I see Americans that are surrounded by this wealth and amenities, I look a little bit dismayed. But I guess maybe I didn't manage to get my message across. Because listen to this.
Woof, woof, brand new car, $32,000. Oh my God, couldn't be me.
Why are we still here?
By the way, I can't afford the car. Just putting it out there, you know? I'm not that wealthy. Like, there are people that can't afford cars. It's not like I have money to buy the car and I choose that. No, the money is not there, okay? Like, the bank account isn't there. Now, yeah, sure, I could go in debt. That is correct. I could go and make a loan to buy the car, and then I too could complain, oh, I can't pay my rent. Oh, I can't pay my utilities. Oh, I want to make a vacation and I can't afford it. Yeah, like if I were to have the same mentality that a lot of people on TikTok have, I would be in the same situation. Yeah, you go to the bank and you're like, oh, can I have a student debt? Oh, can I have a debt to buy a car? Oh, can I have a debt to buy an expensive iPhone? And then you're like, oh shit, why can't I pay for anything? Life is so expensive. This is what I'm talking about. And it wasn't to attack anyone. It was to simply say that by changing your mindset, by changing your financial habits, you can actually stop saying that there are certain things out of reach.
$100. No, that's not that big of a difference from $1,000, but I still wanted to, basically put that out there and say that you're wrong, bitch!
You look at the makeup that she's wearing, right? Like ever since I've been blessed with a wife, I actually know how to look at a woman's face and put a price on it. In this case, I would say give or take $120. The makeup, right?
This shit is pretty typical of right-leaning incel types.
I think I'm the first right-leaning incel type that's married. Like incel means involuntary celibate. But I'm married. Like, I am voluntary, non-celibate. Not that it matters, but again, your entire shtick is people are fighting too much. Like, you loved her message. Like, when she told you about the message from her expensive car, you were like, you know what? Price this message. We should stop fighting with each other. And then when I make a video, and I talk about how people can change their spending habits in order to be able to afford other things, first thing you do is you start attacking. And at least if you're attacking, use this proper slur or something. Like, come on, like I'm from Eastern Europe. It's not that difficult to find slurs that you can use. Don't use incel if I'm married. Use something else.
Comment.
I got Andrew Tate in my country behind bars. Got Andrew Tate over here. Like, surely you can come up with something better.
On women's appearances, I don't really see how her appearance or her makeup is relevant to this. I know you're gonna say, oh yeah, because she spent like $160 on her makeup or whatever.
See, this is the interesting thing. I didn't just comment on the makeup. I said she's got an expensive car, she's got expensive makeup, she's got an expensive phone, therefore she is living a luxurious life. I'm not saying that you should live a life without a car, without makeup, and without a phone. But if you're complaining about not being able to afford things, then you don't need to buy the luxury brands. You can buy a cheap phone, cheap makeup, cheap car.
I can fucking guarantee you that the makeup palette that she's currently using is a makeup palette she's been using since she was like 14 years old. And like $160 investment for a makeup palette that'll last you like a good couple of years is a pretty good investment, especially since in today's society, women are mistreated for not wearing makeup in public.
I know the percentages of my subscribers. I know I got a lot of ladies in the chat. Like, can you please tell me if there is a single example? Because I've never seen it. I see a lot of people, but hey, just because I didn't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. But is there a single example where a woman was mistreated because she didn't have makeup? Like, that, does that actually happen? Like where you, woman, where's your makeup? I've never seen that happening. My wife never seen it happening. My wife's sister never had it happening. But again, maybe it's Eastern Europe. Maybe in America it's different. Has Nancy Pelosi ever been harassed because she didn't wear makeup? Is that a thing that happens in America? Again, I don't know. So please educate me on this matter. It's very bizarre to me.
So which one do you want?
And I'm not. By the way, I'm not saying that she shouldn't wear makeup. All I'm saying is you don't need to get the $150 one. And he's like, well, yeah, but like it's an investment. I mean, sure, it is an investment, and I haven't mentioned the brand clothing that she was wearing either. Because, again, you're going to talk about appearances. Like, my point is that she is surrounding herself with luxury. Like, none of the items that I seen in the video are just regular items that common people can afford. I don't know, like, how wealthy this gentleman is. Like, maybe when you're in a life of luxury, you think that everything is like this. But no. Like, there are other places, like Eastern Europe, where if you want to get the $150 makeup investment, you literally can't afford it. Like, again, the money is not there. Like, you go into the bank account, and you do not have $150 to afford. Like, after paying the rent, after paying the electricity bill, after paying the utilities and the internet and all of that, and buying the groceries, there isn't $150 left. Okay? Can you imagine this lifestyle? Now, when you imagine this lifestyle, understand that when you have people that do not complain that there are things outside of their reach, it is very bizarre for us to look at another country where you see a person that's living a life far better than you can ever imagine, and they are issuing these bizarre complaints, which do not make sense.
Do you want women to not wear makeup, or do you want women to wear makeup?
Honestly, I'm married. I genuinely do not care if women wear or don't wear makeup. It's not about makeup. Again, it's about the idea that if you are surrounded by luxury, if you're sitting on a mountain of gold, you can't complain about being poor. The phone that she's using to record seems incredibly high quality. And again, it's not this particular lady. It's all of them on TikTok. So like, why aren't people noticing that? Yeah, notice. Like, I was talking about a trend. I wasn't talking about this lady. It's almost like the new talking point, the thing that you gotta talk. It feels very disingenuous. It doesn't feel like it's a person that's speaking from the heart. Like, unironically, this guy, Kroyo, I genuinely believe him. I do think he's speaking from the heart when he makes this video. But other people on TikTok, I do not believe them. I just think it's the trendy thing to say, and it's what gets you views, it's what gets you engagement, and this is why they're saying it. Why is this not a talking point?
You know, a high quality cell phone camera in 2024 is not that big of a surprise.
You don't have the high quality camera. You do not have the high quality camera phone. She's got a more expensive phone than you.
Pretty easy to get a high quality phone nowadays.
Do you know how many of my subscribers are probably looking at you aghast? It's like an iPhone is still a luxury phone. It's still a luxury item. Okay, maybe you don't understand because you got like privilege. I understand Americans are really big on privilege, but there are places in the world where a phone with a 4K camera is a luxury item and not everyone can afford it. In fact, usually when you see someone with a 4K camera phone, you're like, oh, this must be a rich person.
It's almost like technology becomes more accessible as time goes on. Wow.
But it's bizarre when I see a person that's surrounded by all of these wealth, all of these amenities, and they're saying, oh, well, you know, I don't know how to make it in life.
Well, this guy's just making a bunch of assumptions. Like, the only thing that he sees is her car. And I can...
Her car, her phone, her makeup, her brand clothing.
Actually say that this girl is hella rich.
So, let's dial it back a little bit, okay? This guy is making a lot of assumptions. And I can just say that I looked it up and the girl is rich. Fascinating how that works, doesn't it? Huh? Oh my god, I did pattern recognition. You know what? I'm like Nostradamus. I got a crystal ball. I just looked at it and I peered into the future. Did it also occur to you that maybe because she's a TikTok influencer and she's got videos that go viral and they get millions of views, like that may also be another pattern? Like just because I don't go and talk about every single pattern that I notice in order to conclude that this is a wealthy person doesn't mean that I don't know what I'm talking about. But the thing that really bewilders me, again, your entire shtick is that we are fighting with each other. Right? And you're saying like that this lady had the message because people should get together and stop fighting. And you're attacking me, and then you're saying that I'm right. Like, you're attacking me for complaining that she's wealthy, and then you go on and you say, yeah, like, she's wealthy. What are you attacking me for? Didn't do nothing. Didn't do nothing wrong. Why am I being attacked for?
I've looked at her fucking profile page. I fucking hate rich people.
I don't hate rich people. I dislike rich people that are complaining about not being able to pay rent because it's bizarre and bewildering. It's like, well, you do have the money, so why can't you pay rent? And there's two reasons. Number one, you're lying and you can't pay rent. You can't afford the things. And I guarantee to you, she can't afford the things. Again, looking at the numbers that she sports on TikTok, I guarantee to you, she makes enough money in order to afford the things. Or the second thing is, like, you can have the money, but you don't know how to spend it. The spending money also requires talent. So, yeah, you're outreaching, you're buying all these luxury goods, so you end up not being able to pay the utilities. Like, that's a possibility. Which is why I come in And I try to help people out. Be like, well, maybe you shouldn't buy all the luxury goods. I'm not saying you shouldn't buy the goods. Just buy cheaper.
But I don't like this guy. An expensive car.
What did I do to you, man? Why don't you like... I mean, it's fine. You know, you don't have to like me. But I feel that it's not like from a neutral standpoint. I feel that there is some animosity between us. It's like, why? What have I done? Besides being right, apparently.
Is usually going to be a good car. And in America, you need a good car.
Oh, cut the crap. Oh, in America, you need a good car because public transport is bad. And, well, I let him say it.
The way that our infrastructure is built is...
The fact that they have infrastructure is what is bewildering for us. Because there are places here in Romania where there is no infrastructure. Like, did you consider that?
Explicitly made for cars. And if you don't have a car, you're going to have to take public transportation. And public transportation here in America is extremely unreliable. Can be dangerous, and just owning a...
Yeah, why is that though? Like, why is public transport in America dangerous? Why do you guys have to send the military in New York City in public transport? Huh? Are we going to talk about that, or is it uncomfortable? That's fine. You know, you don't have to talk about... You know, there are places in Eastern Europe where there's no public transport. Can you imagine that? Like, no, seriously, just nothing. Like, there's no buses, there's no subways, there's nothing. Do you know what people do? I know this sounds bewildering. They walk. I used to walk 15 kilometers back and forth to school and back. Why? Because I couldn't afford a car. I couldn't afford public transport. Now, I guess it also depends, right? Like, if you live in the suburbs where, you know, your parents moved there, like, you're wealthy enough, but you also moved into a place where you can't really afford to live without a car. In which case, if you really can't pay rent, you should sell the house in the suburbs and move closer to the city. But you can also just talk with the neighbor. Like, this is what I do with my wife. Like, there is a neighbor that also goes to town, and my wife pitches in. And she goes with the neighbor's wife. And they travel all the way to her workplace, and then they come back. Like, you don't need to own a car. Again, like, this is the thing that there seems to be a disconnect between my generation and the Zoomers. And the Zoomers were born with luxuries, and they can't imagine a life without the luxury. When I grew up, having one car per family was a luxury. Like, even today, there are people that do not have a car. And there are people that do not use public transport. Like, again, this is why I even wanted to respond to the video, because a lot of people will say, well, V, you know, like, why are you talking to this guy? He's obviously being antagonistic in order for you to make a video response so he gets views. I don't mind if he gets views. In fact, if you like his channel, please subscribe. I got no animosity towards him, like, none whatsoever. But I do want to address the talking points, because it's very rare that I get to actually speak with a Zoomer from America who is from the opposite side of the fence and is genuinely bewildered by my talking points. Because it's like, well, you need the car because you live in America. And I'm like, yeah, I live in Eastern Europe, and trust me, you can make it without a car. And if you do have a car, you don't need a 4x4. You can actually get a second-hand car that barely functions but is enough to get you to work and back. You can even get a bicycle.
Car is a billion times more reliable than taking the bus everywhere. And I don't think this guy
Walking.
knows this, because he sounds like he's European or something.
I love the fact that when I make assumptions and I'm right, like, well, I see a person surrounded by wealth, I look at the numbers that they're sporting on TikTok, and I'm like, okay, this is a rich person. So I'm right. When you're making us, but it's wrong for me because I made assumptions, right? Like, this is upsetting. How dare you, sir, make assumptions about people? And then he's like, well, I assume the guy is European, so he doesn't know. No, I do know. Like, trust me. I do know that you don't know as an American how it's like in Europe, but I do know as a European how it's like in America. You got it better. Unironically, you got it better. If you want, we can switch. I'm perfectly fine with switching. You know, you get to live in my place, I get to live in yours, and I guarantee I will be happy and you will be sad.
And God knows that Europe has way better road infrastructure than we do here in America.
See, the assumptions, the difference is that his assumptions are wrong, my assumptions are right. All the time. At least with my assumptions. I don't know about him. This one wasn't correct. No, there are places in Europe, especially Eastern Europe, where you don't have public transport, especially if you live in a rural area. There are places in Europe where you can live in the rural area and you don't even have sewage. So, no, we do not, like it's not the golden grail of public transportation. And it's also the thing, it's like, I can't afford to get married. Like, Noni, like, you're the woman. I, as a guy, right, when I was younger, if I went to a lady with big fat tits and a millionaire, she wouldn't look at me if I wasn't making as much as her. It turns out, like, there's this trend about... And again, what I said before, right, was that she came out as fake, and not just she personally, like most of the TikTok videos from the cars, with people complaining that they don't have money. They don't have money to get married, right? The guy looks her up, she's very rich. Now, I guarantee to you, I'm not as rich as her, probably not as rich as that guy either. And yet I could afford to get married. So how does this work? How is it possible that a person with access to less amenities and less wealth has the financials to get married, while someone from America with more wealth and more access to stuff cannot afford to get married? Women, what can you do, right? Like, if you don't make as much money as they do, they're not interested. Like, maybe I just had bad experiences, okay? But the other way around is fine. Like, well, now that I'm making money, I'm already married, but if I wasn't, I would have nothing against marrying a woman that does it, right? And like me, there's many other men, many other of my friends, like they don't care about how much a woman makes. So if you're a lady, like, what do you mean you can't afford to get married? That's just bizarre.
I think in modern day, both males and females can make money, and they both should make money.
That's not my point, though. Like, yeah, I'm not against women making money or men making money, but what I am saying, and this is true, like, it's objectively fact. You can't say that it's not true. If you're a man, you do not have the option to marry a wealthy woman and be a stay-at-home husband. Like, that is incredibly bizarre. Like, maybe, I don't know, like, you're winning the lottery if you can pull it off. Because most women just don't want to put up with it. And it's fine, you know, like, it's their decision. But the opposite isn't true. Like, there are so many millionaires out there, there are so many billionaires or rich people that are perfectly fine with marrying with a woman that's a stay-at-home wife, and they're the only ones that go to work. Now, this doesn't mean that I don't believe a man and a woman should work in a family. Like, yeah, no, but what I'm saying is, when I hear a woman saying that she doesn't afford the money to get married, I am a little bit bewildered, because she does have the option. Like, the option is there. She doesn't have to take it, but it is available, that you can find the guy who you like, and is also wealthy, and he can pitch in for the wedding. The opposite doesn't happen. Like, if you are a man and you are unemployed and you want to find a woman that's rich so that she pitches in for the wedding, good luck with that. Again, I'm not saying how things should or shouldn't be. I'm not casting moral judgment. I'm just describing the reality.
I personally don't want to be married to somebody who can't provide just as...
Yeah, but that, again, like, that's your opinion. That doesn't mean that there aren't many other men that have no problem with it. Like, I have no problem if my wife would choose to be a stay-at-home mom. If she wants to work, I have no problem with that either. But if she was to say tomorrow, hey, you know, like, I just want to stay at home and I want to enjoy time and I don't want to work, I'd be like, fine, okay, no problem. There's many men like me. But I don't think there are many women like if I were to tell my wife, hey, you know what, like, from tomorrow, I don't want to work, I just want to stay home, I want to raise the kids. She would freak out. She'd be like, no, that's unacceptable. No,
as much as I can provide, because that's important. It's not very easy to make a family when you only have one income coming into your home.
See, if I was a dick, I could say that. So are you saying that what single moms are doing is wrong? Because they only have one income. Are you being disparaging towards them? Because that's not very progressive. It's not okay. Are you saying that everyone should marry? I'm not going to be a dick, though. Ignore the question. Don't. No, it's just like, it's what big YouTubers do when they want to get a gotcha. It's a horrible tactic. Just no.
It actually makes it a whole lot easier if both people in the relationship are both making money. And I
honestly, that's very conservative of him. I do appreciate his family values. See, this is how you get a leftist to support family values. You present yourself as a right-winger and you say the opposite, and they will contradict you and say, yeah, well, actually, family values are really great. No, I agree. Yeah, like, do get better. Both people should work. No.
I think it's kind of stupid for you to want to live in a world where men are the sole providers. Like, that entire responsibility falls on the man.
I don't think you understand. I don't want to live in that world. I want to live in a world where I get to marry a hot 10 out of 10 waifu, big fat titties, nice ass, and I get to stay home. I want to stay home, and I want her to be the provider. That is the world that I want to live in. If an isekai is a thing and it ever happens, you know, that is the situation that I want to be in. I want to be the one that stays at home. I don't want to go to work and just go to a corporation and work overtime. But unfortunately, it is true what you are saying. Yes, like, unfortunately, you do need two incomes. So I do actually have to work for a living, and she has to work for a living. But I just wanted to point it out that you were mischaracterizing me, right? You're misconstruing my argument. I don't want a world where I'm the provider. No. I want to be provided for. I want to be oppressed by an ushikushi beautiful wife. By that chick from Stellar Blade. I want her to oppress me by forcing me to stay home while she goes to work as a big CEO at a pharmaceutical company. But unfortunately, I don't think my dream will ever transpire. And also, luckily, my wife doesn't watch the YouTube channel, so there's also that.
In the relationship. I can bet you $1 billion that this guy's like an anti-feminist or whatever. Or whatever the fuck they...
You don't have $1 million. You know who has $1 million? I'll tell you, that lady from the TikTok video. She has $1 million. If she was to bet it, I would take her up on it. Because I know I would win. It wouldn't be a bet.
They call themselves right now. All these people are genuinely stupid. Like, they just want the worst for themselves and society. Just be...
How do I want the worst for myself if I want to be pampered? Like, I want to live like royalty. I want to be married to a CEO lady. Comes home, puts the money on the table. That's what I want. How's that the worst for me? Am I going to get a moral lecture? I'll probably get a moral lecture. Holy shit.
Because it is what it is.
But then you go to the meat of the issue, right? Because a lot of these people, again, not this lady in particular, but a lot of others that I have seen, and I'm a little bit peeved that I didn't save their videos, they were blaming greedy capitalism for this. Like, oh, these capitalistic companies, they're so greedy and they're making life difficult for us. And I'm thinking, really, so it's only our generation that has greedy companies? Because most of these people, they go on and they say, well, you know, like, our parents had it a lot easier, our grandparents had it easier. So they didn't have greedy corporations? It's like just our generation, the companies decided to go greedy all of a sudden? Interesting way of thinking, isn't it?
Nobody's saying that. Nobody says the corporations have never been greedy. Nobody says the corporations...
You don't have to say it, they're implying it. Like, again, TikTok video after TikTok video, where they're basically, oh, companies are greedy, and life is so hard because companies are greedy. And they're like, my parents were happy because my parents had their own home, and my parents had their own job, and they weren't afraid of getting fired, and things were cheaper back then, etc., etc. And I'm like, yeah, but like back then, corporations were also greedy. So if corporations were greedy then, and they're greedy now, then corporations being greedy isn't the variable. It's politicians. It's how you vote. It's the legislations that you are supporting, which is making your current life different than that of your parents. Because nothing else changed. Corporations have been the same greedy as they were back then, as they're now. In fact, things should have changed for the better. Like this gentleman said, it's like, well, now you have access to better technology and better things. So if anything, you should have your life better than what your parents used to have. But you don't. So don't blame corporations is my point. Because the only thing different that you're having now and your parents didn't have back then is the politicians.
We were less greedy in the past. Nobody's saying that. Even she mentions in the video that you have not provided the full context of.
That's okay, I addressed it now.
That her parents told her that their lives were difficult, and her life is difficult, and her kids' lives are going to be difficult.
Yeah, but as I said, and I don't know how many times do I need to repeat myself, it wasn't a video about her. It was a video about the trend of TikTok Zoomers. And many of them are saying, well, our parents had it easier. And they're right. You look at the statistics, and you see that the happiness level was different for our parents. You can see that their purchasing power was different. And it's also true that our kids, the next generation, will have it harder than we had it. And my point is that it wasn't capitalism, because their parents had capitalism, we have capitalism, the future generation will have capitalism. But at the end of the day, the only variable is the politicians and the new laws that they are passing. All of a sudden it just became so bad, you know, like when our parents were there, you know, they had their houses in the suburbs and their little dog and their own car, and they didn't have the same financial problems according to these people. Because they come from wealthy families that are making these TikTok videos. And the first thing they started... Yeah, notice that I'm speaking plural. These people, like all of the ones, the celebrities that are making TikTok videos, not the lady that I just put it on the screen out of convenience so that people know what I'm talking about. I mean, in her situation, maybe her parents did have it more difficult. That's true. And maybe she pulled herself up by her bootstraps. And she is an outlier. That can also be true, but it doesn't change the trend. It doesn't change the fact that there are many people on TikTok that are basically saying, well, my parents had it a lot better than I do. It's like, oh, well, it was so great for my parents. So they didn't have the greedy companies, right? Like, they didn't have the greedy corporations and the late-stage cap. Am I this animated, though? Do I always, huh? Or is it just because the video is played twice as fast? It's just us that we got the short end of the stick.
The difference between the past and the present is that corporations right now have way more control over our government, way more control over our infrastructure.
Is that true, though? I guess it depends in what country you're in, but I find it difficult to believe that the bankers of the past exercised less influence over the American politicians, or the military-industrial complex had little power before we were born. I mean, if anything, when you look at the past, the East India Trading Company exercised much more influence than any company that exists today. And even so, that wouldn't be corporate greed, that would be crony capitalism. And if you want to have a conversation about getting money out of politics, I mean, I would agree. As a European, if a company tries to give money to a politician in Europe, it's called corruption. In the United States, it's called lobbying. So no, like, you would have a point. Yeah, like having companies with less authority over the government and changing of legislation. Yeah, sure, no, that's fair. But again, like, this is not why the standard of living in the United States is going down dramatically. It's because companies are gaining more power and more influence. No.
And all of this control just adds to their bottom line. Just think about this for a second, okay? Think about, you know, a multi-billion-dollar company like McDonald's, right? You think that McDonald's...
Out of all the companies you could have picked, is McDonald's really the company oppressing you? You know, like, you could have chosen, I don't know, Microsoft or Pfizer or McDonald's.
is going to provide people in society the proper resources to understand how to maintain physical health.
Why would McDonald's, out of all the places, have to educate you about health issues? Everyone knows that eating at McDonald's is unhealthy. Like, this isn't some government secret that there's a collusion or a cover-up, like the tobacco industry back in the day that was hiring doctors to say that smoking Camel is healthy. And any doctor that said differently was persecuted by his shill peers or by the companies themselves. Like, if you were to go for an example like that, I would have been, yeah, sure. But really, McDonald's? Everyone knows that McDonald's is unhealthy, but people go there because they choose to do unhealthy activities. It's called freedom. The reason McDonald's is the way it is that it started off as a small business, and then people went there because they liked it, so the business grew and grew and grew until it is the behemoth that it is today. And now it's actually going the other way around. It's starting to shrink because it's supposed to offer cheap fast food, but the prices are soaring, and it's not fast because you got all these DoorDash people that are clogging up the line, so they get priority. So it's expensive food. And yeah, you're going to see that in the future, McDonald's is going to lose a lot of money and probably shut down a lot of its stores. How does McDonald's have to do with corruption with the government? Like, if you were to say Pfizer, which is putting a product on the market that the government buys using your taxpayer money, whether you like it or not, and then tries to constrain people to use that product, then yeah, like that would have been a different conversation. That would have been like, yeah, like government collusion with the companies, and then you have like the Twitter files where the government is asking for social media to censor any type of different ideas that are coming from the public. Then yeah, like you would be like, okay, well, this is a greedy corporation that's doing the thing. But the interesting fact is that the left was actually supporting that type of thing. Probably not you in particular, but many leftists and establishment people and even the more radical elements of the left were saying, no, this is good. This is for public health. This is needed. Right? Which is probably why I didn't give Pfizer as an example. And I find it interesting because like 5 years ago, the left was like, oh, the big pharma industrial complex is evil, it's bad. Now the big pharma industrial complex was good. I'm curious if left-leaning ideologues will change their mind 5 years from now because they seem to be moving around like the ocean when it comes to big pharma.
Or to understand where their money is coming from or where their money is going. You understand that companies like this thrive on ignorance. Like seriously, companies are providing a service. And what is a service? A service is an action that usually solves some sort of problem that someone has in their life. If that problem no longer exists, what use do I have for the service?
You're literally doing this right now. You're providing a service. You're making entertaining YouTube videos. Are you educating the public or that watching these types of YouTube videos is just entertainment, that it can be a waste of time? Are you reminding your viewers that they should go outside and do something else more productive than watching you? This is the question you're asking. Now you can say, well, yeah, but I'm not McDonald's. I'm just a small YouTube channel. It's true, but do you think you would think differently if you would have like 5 billion viewers tomorrow and you would constantly like lecture your viewers about, hey, you know, like maybe you shouldn't listen to me and you should listen, I don't know, to something more constructive. Like there's another content creator that talks about carpentry. Go listen to that guy. Maybe you learn how to make a chair and then you can learn a trade. No, of course not. There is no reason for a company to educate people. And in fact, people don't even want to get an education from McDonald's because we have families, we got communities, we got, oh, what the left hates, the church. You know that thing which says that gluttony is a sin? But all jokes aside, your logic is also flawed. You're saying that, well, companies need to provide a service, so it's in their interest that the problem isn't fixed. McDonald's is selling food. There is no amount of food that they can sell that they're going to fix hunger, because you're eating today and you're going to get hungry again tomorrow. So no, McDonald's, even if they wanted to fix this issue, they wouldn't. And I think like if they knew how, they probably would, because they would fix world hunger and they would have so much cash that it would last them for their entire lifetime. No, and they would also go back into the history books as well. Like, everyone would know, oh, McDonald's has fixed world hunger. See, now if you brought the pharmaceutical complex, like, come on, it was so easy. It was such a low-hanging fruit. You could literally just bring up the pharmaceutical complex and point out some of their meetings where they're saying, well, is it really profitable if we cure people? Is that even a sustainable business practice? See, you could have gone for that, but instead you went for McDonald's. Why? Why did you pick on the clown? You know, you had a full deck, and you decided to pick the Joker.
So it's in the company's best interest to maintain that problem. And in worse situations...
Yeah, no, I agree. It's in McDonald's best interest to keep people hungry.
...to make these problems 10 times worse, so that people will buy 10 times the service or product.
She's from New York, and she was concerned about the crime level in Romania, and I'm like, woman, you have the fucking army in your subway. What? You're talking about Romania? Isn't this astonishing, though? Like, you actually do have the army in the subway? Is there any other nation on Earth that has its army in the subway? Nani? Like, they deployed the military in the subway in your state. They don't do that. Like I can go with my bus without having soldiers to guarantee my safety. And she's like, see, he complains about me not playing her entire video, but he doesn't play my video. This is me talking to my cousin, and my cousin was complaining about the dangers in Romania, and I was like, you got the military deployed in the subway. Why are you complaining about my nation? Now again, there is a reason why the United States has to deploy their military in the New York subway and Romania doesn't. Look at the laws that Romania has. Look at the laws that New York has. And you may find out why, but nah. Like, well, yeah, but like, so, like, I'm not against the fact that the military is deployed. Like, don't get me wrong. It's the reason on why they had to do it that's the problem.
So this is the part of the video where he just starts yapping about nonsense that has nothing to do with what the original video is about.
Yeah, he genuinely didn't understand that my entire point with my video was that life is getting worse for the Zoomers because of the politicians and their policies. It's not because companies are greedy. It's not because capitalism. It's because companies were greedy in the past, and you had capitalism in the past. And if you're saying that life is going difficult for the Zoomers, it means that it's a trend. And that trend is due to the politics. Yes, like the reason that the New York military is deployed in the subway is 100% because of your politicians and your legislation. Other countries don't do this, right? Russia doesn't have its military deployed in the subway. Romania doesn't. Poland doesn't. Germany doesn't. No, it's the United States, specifically New York. And it's to the point that even in this video you said, oh, public transport is dangerous. So this is why everyone needs to have a car. And now you're saying, well, I'm not addressing the point. Yes, I am. Like, if public transport, according to you, was safer, people could afford not to have a car. It's literally your point that you're making. And I'm telling you that in order to fix it, you don't have to look at the corporate. It's not McDonald's, okay? Just trust me. It's not McDonald's. The reason that you need to have your military in the subway to make the subway unusable and feel unsafe, so that you guys need to buy cars in order to have transportation.
About. Anyways, if you did enjoy this video, just...
Okay, now, do you see why I don't present the whole video? How long was this? It was almost an hour. You think people are going to watch this? Now I know, a lot of people will say, well, V, you're only giving attention to this man. I don't care. I genuinely wanted to tackle the arguments. I definitely wanted to have an interesting discussion about these things and to try to understand how people who disagree with me think. And, hopefully I made some good points. We'll see. I'm not going to have this back and forth, though. Like, this is the only video that I'm making. Goes without saying, if you interact with this gentleman by visiting his channel because you're curious what else he makes, be nice to him, be polite, right? Do not be rude to him because he has done nothing wrong. I mean, he's just having different opinions that disagree with my own. And hopefully this provided some additional context. And as the lady said, we need to get together. We need to stop fighting with each other. I'm not fighting with him, but he doesn't seem to like me for some reason. I don't know what I did to him. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.